This is this discussion for my role play and for Counselling Therapies 1 Assessment 2. And I did a role play with a client who pretended to be Gareth, age 42. So the rationale that, the method that I used was person-centered therapy. And the reason for using that method for me is that it is very important to build a strong relationship with your client, to build a strong rapport with them, and also so that they can trust you and that they feel comfortable enough to be able to use your rooms, your services to air their emotions and their deepest thoughts, so that they don't feel like it's a place where they will suffer any judgment or repercussion. The other thing is for using PCT was to be able to provide Gareth with an environment which was growth promoting in many ways. So in many senses, an environment that would make him more self-aware of what was going on internally, what was going on with his situation. So basically an environment where he could examine freely what was actually going on in his life that required clarification, that required further thought, that required him to actually take time out to manage either his behavior or his thought processes. The other thing that I did was use the PCT was so that I could remain genuine in my responses to him. So he needed someone who was real, someone who was honest, so that he could actually check to see whether what he was doing was actually valid without and also something that the other thing was that where he had unconditional positive regard as well. So that was something that I aimed to do throughout the session. So Gareth actually felt like he could continue to talk, that he could continue to explore, and that he could actually continue to be more aware of what was going on within his thought processes. And once he was more aware of it, so that he could actually look at his behaviors more closely, maybe also so that he could manage what was going on. So the other thing about using person-centered therapy was the fact that it concentrated on what was going on at the moment. So it didn't go into what had happened in the past with his ex-partner, what had happened in the past with the girls. It was all about, this is what the situation was, and this was his way of this was how he had to deal with it in order to make sure that he had built a strong relationship with his girls. The other method that I used was the empty chair technique. The reason I used that technique was, once again, because I wanted him to concentrate on what was going on in the present, in the here and now, without actually going into the past. The other reason for using the empty chair technique was so that he could get another point of view regarding the situation. So he was seeing it from his point of view, and he was seeing it from how his ex-wife was actually and he saw it as his ex-wife holding the children or saying things to the children to hold them back, and that was something that he realized he had no control over. So he had to realize that this was what the situation was, and he had to make the best of that situation in order to make the relationship between him and his girls work. And that was something that became very clear throughout the counseling session, that the relationship that he shared with his girls was very important to him, and that he was a person in charge. He was a person who needed to manage that relationship. So using the empty chair technique, he was able to bring out a few things that his daughter had requested of him in order to make the relationship stronger. She had wanted alone time with him. The other thing was, he realized that his child was getting to be a teenager. She was getting to be a stage where planning or forward thinking was not something that she was very comfortable with. She wanted him to actually come back so that she could let things happen naturally. It wasn't something that she wanted contrived, that she wanted to think too far ahead of. She just wanted things to go back maybe more into the natural rhythm of things. So that I think that was something that he was able to focus on and strategize regarding. As a counselor, I think I was able to identify what his goal was, which was seek clarification around, or seek a way of managing the situation that was at hand. And I think I was able to allow him the space and allow him and provide the environment for him to be able to do that, to actually become more self-aware, become more to actually manage his expectations perhaps of what was going on with the situation, manage the expectations of the children itself, and manage the situation at hand, as opposed to trying to sort something out that he had no control over. I think where indicators of any improve areas for improvement and change, I think I could have been a little bit more directive in my questioning, and maybe talk about what it was that might have what did he think might have been his behavior that might have caused the children to withdraw a little bit more, or maybe even talk about what it was in the past. Did he think there was anything in the past that might have come up to cause some fears or some reservations for the girls to surface again? But I chose not to do that. I think the other thing, that whether there was any indicators of issues that needed referral, I think at this point there weren't any indicators that needed referral. He didn't mention anything, or we didn't identify any situations that needed further referral at this stage. I think if he had identified any past or previous issues which regarding his anger management or anything like that, then we could have actually considered a referral, or maybe even counseling along with one of the other areas I suppose was counseling along with his wife, his ex-wife, so that they resolve their communication issues in order to be able to parent the children or co-parent the children without getting their own agendas in each other's way. So that the children have, they have a good relationship with both parents, and both parents are supportive of that for each other. I think overall Gareth had some clarity regarding the situation and was able to find a strategy to manage the situation on hand using by the methods that I employed. I think maybe a little bit more directive counseling would have been useful, but that's once again something that could be explored at a later session with Gareth.